Hi guys, in this tutorial we're going to make a simple file shredder, but secure file shredder. So we're going to go on Open Delphi. I'm going to go up here to File, New. I'm going to VLC app. I'm not going to save the first one because I made it before I started recording. So we've got our basic VCL app. And oddly enough, this is going to be really simple. You'd think writing a file shredder is really complex, but it's actually not that complex. So I've just dropped a edit on there. We're going to need a label and we're going to need a button. So why a file shredder? Well, I just decided why not. How can you trust a third party if you securely want to delete something? Well, you make your own file shredder. So hopefully this tutorial is going to help. So this, no, we're going to need one more button. So you need two buttons. I'm kind of making this up as I go along in my head. So button one is you're going to change the caption to browse. This is going to be our browse button, and button 2 to shred. Now, a quick warning, this will make things unrecoverable. So unlike most of my other projects, I'm going to rename it. I'm going to rename the form so that it actually looks right. I'm going to save it. And so how do we make a file shredder which actually makes it difficult to... I don't know if this is actually unrecoverable or whether it's stupidly difficult. There has been rumours circulating for years that certain governments have the technology to reverse file shredding, and there is certain ways to mitigate this, so encrypting the data before you shred it. But we're not going to encrypt it today. We are literally just going to pass over it enough times that it's going to make it very difficult to recover. And so that's our basic form. So we have our little label, file to shred. We have our edit box, which is going to become our browse box. We have our browse button, and we had our shred button. Now, unlike most videos, I'm actually going to go around and rename all of these components. So we're going to change our edit box to file path edit so that we know what it is. We're going to change button 2's name to shred file btn. We're not going to bother naming our label because we're never going to change it. And we're going to change our browse button name to browse button. So now we've got them, let's start by filling in the browse button code. So we're going to go into our browse button and we're going to do a with. We're going to do a t file open dialog dot create. We're going to give it an owner of nil because after we're done with it, we don't want to put an end, we want to put a do. We're going to do a try, and when you type in try, it'll automatically create these two variables. And we're going to do inside of our try if execute, then file, no, we want to do, file path edit dot text is equal to file name. And then finally, we would like to free it. And that is it for our browse button. So if we come back to our unit and we start it, give it a few seconds for my rubbish computer to kick in. And we click browse. Depending on where it ends up, you might see this, you might not. No, it's in my documents. We'll go to the desktop instead. And so we can just select access script will do. And there you go. So it's propagated our edit box with a file path. So we can close that now. So now onto the shredding script. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the pass and we're going to come in and actually we're going to add a unit. We're going to add a unit because it's going to be easier. So I believe all you want is Windows, probably sysutils might be required, and possibly classes, depending on how well this goes. So we're going to write a function because we'd like to return true or not. So we're going to write our function and we're going to call it shred file and delete it. And we're going to want to pass it two variables, and we need it to return a variable. So we want to return Boolean. We want a yes or no out of the function. Did it delete it or not? So we're going to want the shred file path, and that is going to be a string. And I think by default we're going to actually leave the number of parsers set to a default amount, but with the code you guys should be able to edit it as you see fit, so I can't see a problem with that. So why is there parsers? Well, when writing this we're going to need to do a certain number of parsers, an overwrite. Now when you delete something, it doesn't actually get deleted, it actually sits on your disk, marked in a particular way that Windows just doesn't show it anymore. So we're going to need a constant. We're going to need a buffer size first. So we're going to set our buffer size to 1024 bytes. So that's a good block size. I'm not saying it's the best block size, but it's a good block size. So then after that, we want a few more variables, and I'm going to try and explain these as I go along. So we want the number of parsers, so n passers, and that's going to be 34. Now why 34? If you end up Wikipedia in it, I'll put the link in the description. Whilst you're there, feel free to subscribe. There is a certain number of parsers at which it becomes difficult to recover. So next we want the infill. So what do we want to write to our file? So we're going to call this junk. So junk is going to be an array. It's going to be an array of 0 to 5. And yeah, 0 to 5. We need to put that. No. Is it? What is the... I still think, yeah, I think you still need to do this. So we're actually going to name this file junk, I think. Because junk just seems a bit, you know. And it's going to be of integers. You possibly could do bytes, but I don't know how well that's going to work, and I'm only doing one way. So this is the junk we're going to write over it with. And so we need to give it something to write over. So we're going to give it 0, because why not? There are some particular methods to this madness. So next we're going to give it FF. I think these have to actually be capitals. Obviously I learned myself, so you know, some of these might not be 100% correct, depending on exactly what you've been doing with it. So I'm going to pause the video for a second. Right, so I'm back. I need another beer. So, right, so we left off writing these. So we're going to go OO again. And when this decides it wants to respond, we're then going to go $, and we're going to go FO, or F, oh you bloody keyboard, F0, and then once again we're going to go O0F, like that, and then lastly we're going to go $00 again. So that gives us our 5 or 6 I wanted. Can't remember, I kind of wrote this in a rush. So, have I missed one? 00FF 00FOOF. No, that's right. So these are going to be our files that we overwrite with. Next, we are going to require some vars. So we're going to add ourselves some vars, don't add that. And we need a few things. So we need an array, so we're just going to call it ARR. Sod it, that's not the best programming advice, but hell. And then we want that to be the buffer size. So that's where our file is going to sit, and that has to be of bytes. No, of byte. There is bytes in it if you add it all together. Then next we need a file handle. So this is going to be our file. Like that. And now we need some variables. And so this is where it becomes complicated. So we need we will need a loop, another loop, and then we'll need the current junk we're introducing. So we need 3. And so the first one's going to be can we name this so that it looks right? So we're going to do our current pass, C pass, and that's going to be an integer. And next we need a current block, and then after that we're going to need a C junk. Yep, that's funny. Someone's going to be laughing. We're going to begin. Yeah, so that's probably all the variables we're going to need. So first we're going to need to assign our file. So assign file. We need to give it our F as our file, and then we need to open our file. So shred file path, like that. Next we need to reset. So we're back at 0. So once again, file, and then comma and 1. So we want to be at the first byte in the list. Right, now we need our did we do this right? Have we missed one out? We don't need the current junk. We need the current file size. The file size. So F size. Right. So now we're going to get the file size, and this is going to be equal to file size. Funnily enough, and we're going to give it F again. As you can see, there's a lot. There's a lot here that's basic understanding. So we're now going to do a for loop. Oh no. There you go. We don't want I. We have a variable for that. So our variable here is our is the number of current passes. So C pass, and our number of passes is equal to 0 to our n passes. And then after that we're going to begin, and after that we're going to do another for, except from we don't want this one I as well, we want this one to be right. So we're going to have to cut our thing up into blocks. So instead of I, this is going to be C block. So this is the current block we're at. So we're going to have to overwrite all of the file, and we're going to have to do that in all sections. So we're going to go from 1 to, so we're going to need to then take the, what is it, the F size. We're then going to have to divide that by the buffer size to get the number of passes, and then we're going to begin again, and we're going to block write. So I will go through quickly after I've done this, and I will explain, well, what we've done. So this is F as the first variable, and then we need our junk. So junk, file junk, and we need to give the file junk we're currently on. So we will use the current block. That's not going to work, is it? Yeah, we use the current block. That should work, I think. Possibly. And then we also need... This is starting to become a bit annoying. Yeah, so we want our current, we want to fill it in with crap, and we need to know how big the buffer is. So we'll have to put the buffer size in here, and then we need to end, and end, which is done for us automatically. Then we're going to close the file, and once again it's F. And then we would like to rename the file, because we don't want them really knowing the name of the file either, as we're trying to make it slightly secure. So once again, this is going to be our shred file path, and then what we want to rename it to is we want to extract the file path from the original, and we want to add a temporary name on the end. So go for a load of zeros, and we will call it a .temp, just to wind someone up, just to confuse whoever comes after this even more. And then we'll close it, and then we'll delete it. So basically what we've done there is someone could tell, you know, what your file was if they knew the file name. So we don't really want them knowing the file name after we've shredded it. So we're going to rename it to temp, and then we're going to delete the temp file. And that should pretty much do it, if I've written this correctly. Have I missed anything out? We've reset the size. Yeah, I can't remember why I needed the array for. Yeah, I still can't remember why we needed the array for. So that we'll remove the array. I can't actually remember why it was there for. It's not erroring, so. So we name our file. We name our unit shred. We need to remember. We need to return whether it's Boolean or not. So we'll do the result at the end. Don't do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go if we need to take this out. we're going to do a simple logic trick. So if the current pass is equal to the right, you guys are probably going to change the number of passes, so we'll do n passes, then result equals true. And what we'll do is we'll just come up here and we'll put result equals false. And then that way, if it fails to get to the other end, you're going to get false anyway. And if it gets to this end and the current number of passes is equal to the number of passes, then we know we made it to the other end. And that is pretty much it. So we're going to come back to our page, and we're going to add a label. Because I forgot about this. I'm kind of making this up as I go along. So we're going to put, I'm just going to leave it blank. We're going to put not shredded. And we're going to change this. We're going to rename it. We're going to get rid of this debug window so that my screen fits. We're going to come down, and here we're going to name this to shred status, like so. We're going to double click on our shred button because we haven't actually filled it in yet. We're going to do shred. Oh no, we're not. We need to declare our unit, like so. And if we pull our unit name, we're going to have to declare that so that we can use it in another unit, like so. We do that, and then because we've already got it in the clipboard, we might as well dump it here. We're going to do an if and then what we need to do is we need to take this, which is our propagated. We're going to stick that there. We're going to put then here, and we're going to change our shred status to equal file shredded and deleted. Like so. And right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do another safety check here. We're going to do if the file path edit is text is equal to, then begin. We're going to do show message error no file path, and we're going to exit. So why are we going to exit? Because if you try and shred no file, you're not going to get anywhere. And what we're going to do is afterwards we're going to reset. We're going to use our browse button. We're going to come up here. We're going to set our to file not shred dead. Now I will warn you, this is likely to crash if you wiggle it around and do all sorts of things. I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to make a junk file. Right, so we're back in our file shredder and we're going to start it. We're getting an error. Oh, we forgot to do dot caption, and that means we're going to have to do dot caption down here. Easily missed. So just save them. And here is, oops, don't do that. Here is our file shredder. So we're going to browse. And we're going to come to our YouTube folder. And I've gone in there and I've made a folder called junk. We've made ourselves a junk file. And if I stretch this out, you can see that there is actual content in our junk file. So we're going to open our junk file. And there's our junk file. And right, before I shred this, I'm going to come over here and we're going to go to my recycle bin. There is nothing in my recycle bin. I'm going to shred it. I'm going to give it a second. It probably will crash if you move it around right now. Although it should have done it by now. Or it might not, it might still be doing passes. Wait a few seconds. Specific file was not found. Oh well. That's not supposed to happen. Oh, well the file did come through correctly, and then suddenly everything's junk. Ah, so the file might have already been deleted. Ah, it has been. Right, so the shredder worked the first time. It just worked so quickly that it deleted it before I could get there. So don't open Firefox, because that's shit. So as you can see, it's deleted out of this folder, and if I come over here and I go in my recycle bin, it's not in my recycle bin either. Which means we just successfully shredded that file. We're going to quickly add that, because that's going to wind me up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick check here. Before we do this, we're going to do if file exists. Then we're going to begin. Now little things like this, these could be added at any point. Just because I show you how to make an application doesn't mean it cannot be improved. This is a clear example of improving your application. It's a simple mitigation to stop it crashing. So it's now going to check if the file exists. So we're going to do this, and we're going to make an else exception in case it doesn't exist, and we're going to show message file does not exist. And that is a good way to increase your applications, increase your application. That simple change then mitigates that entire issue I just had where it deleted the file and I didn't know it deleted the file. For some reason it didn't throw up the fact that it had been shredded, which was slightly concerning. So I will pause the video and I will have a quick gander at that. Or actually, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it for you guys to figure out. So it's not telling you that the file was shredded. More than likely, if you put a break line here, you'll see that this doesn't add up to that. It'll probably be one higher or one lower. It'll be one lower. Just solved it myself. Why is it one lower? Because we started at 0. Ta-da. Right. So that's it. Your file shred is done. As always, the link for the source code will be in this description if you cannot be bothered to code it out yourself. It will be a CoinHive link, as always. Sorry, there's no monetization on YouTube. If you want to get rid of it, if you want me to stop using CoinHive, hit the subscribe button, because if I can get back up to using AdSense, the CoinHive links will disappear. It's the only way I have of monetizing content at the minute. So if you enjoyed this, you know where that thumbs up button is. If you have a suggestion for an upcoming video, hit it in the descriptions and I will try and make it. So until next time. Here are 2 videos you might like if you're not subscribed. Here's a subscribe button. If you're following this project, here's Delphi for free, and here's something you might like.